Bill O'Reilly here. You are listening to the O'Reilly Update. Coming up next, the news with Mike Slater.
Hey, thank you, Bill. It's Wednesday, March 13th, 2024. Here's what's happening today in America. An elderly man with a poor memory. Inflation up, massive budget, and flying the flag high. That's all coming up. Then Bill's going to be here with your message of the day. But first, the Robert Hur report. This is the special report into the investigation of classified documents found in Biden's possession. Hur concluded that classified documents were found in 7 different locations. Congressman Kiley asked Hur, could a reasonable jury have voted to convict Biden based on the facts? Hur said, that's correct. This seems to be the most newsworthy part. I think Jim Jordan asked Hur, did the White House request certain edits and changes to the draft report? And indeed, White House counsel wrote to Hur, we request that you revisit your descriptions of Biden's memory and revise them so that they're stated within a manner that is within the bounds of your expertise. The report was released 3 days later. Hur defended the characterizations of the president's memory by saying, I knew that for my decision to be credible, a decision to not convict the president, I could not simply announce that I recommended no criminal charges and leave it at that. I needed to explain why. Inflation is still really high. American households hit with a second month of rapidly rising prices. The consumer price index rose 0.4% in February, faster than January's increase and the 4th consecutive monthly increase. Compared with 12 months earlier, the index is up 3.2%. Inflation's going up, even though the White House says it's going down. The Fed wants to see inflation at 2% to drop rates, but we're not there yet. This is not helping. Biden unveiled a $7.3 trillion budget. That's incredible. Trump had a record high budget of $4.8 trillion. Now we're at over $7 trillion. House Republicans claim that the budget will add $4.9 trillion in new taxes on American families and producers and will actually increase the deficit from $18 trillion to $52 trillion 10 years from now. A high schooler in Indiana flew a big American flag from the back of his pickup truck. He said the high school told him he couldn't fly that flag on school property. He looked through the school handbook. Nothing was there. The kid said, the school does have a right to request that I not fly the flag. But since it's just a request means you're not demanding me or telling me I have to. So I am going to decline your request. The next day, there were a ton of cars in the parking lot with American flags. This young man plans to join the military after graduation. Thank goodness we need more kids like him. I'm Mike Slater from the podcast Politics by Faith. The great Bill O'Reilly, he has your message of the day. Next.
Everything is expensive these days, you know that. The government is printing trillions of dollars and consumer prices higher than ever. If the government continues its printing and spending, the dollar could continue its free fall. But there are a few things you can do right now. American Hartford Gold can show you how to protect your money, your retirement, your hard-earned savings against inflation by helping you diversify a portion of your portfolio into physical gold and silver. Start with a short phone call, and they can have physical gold and silver delivered right to your door or put inside your 401k or IRA. So please call or text them right now. Tell them Bill O'Reilly sent you. Call 877-444-GOLD, 877-444-GOLD, or text GOLD to 65532. Again, that's 877-444-GOLD or text GOLD to 65532. Time now for the O'Reilly Update message of the day. On this Wednesday, after the State of the Union address last week, a long-term liberal friend of mine emailed me that President Biden had performed very well and would go on to defeat Donald Trump in November. I replied his stated scenario is what he wants to believe and that the outcome of the contest remains undefined. I added that significant events will occur before November that will shape the election. There's no question that millions of Americans will vote for the president no matter what happens. Same for Trump supporters. A significant part of the electorate is locked in for various reasons. My analysis is based on history, and it is that Biden's second term will veer even sharper left into socialist territory. The president is the biggest spender ever, and that will continue with rising tax rates on corporations and affluent Americans. The corporate tax hit, of course, will be passed along to consumers in the form of higher prices. The progressive left, which runs Biden, desperately wants massive income redistribution, and that can only happen in Washington if the federal government controls the private marketplace through taxation. Thus, hardworking Americans, including my liberal friend, are voting against their own self-interest. They and their families will have less, their economic security diminished. Under Biden, the government will have more. I'm Bill O'Reilly. I approve the message by writing it. You can reach me, Bill at BillO'Reilly.com, Bill at BillO'Reilly.com, name and town if you wish to opine. Let's go to the mail. Ralph, concierge member. We hope you check that out on BillO'Reilly.com, concierge membership. I know there's a big difference between caring and knowing, and President Biden doesn't know. I wonder why the speechwriters left the word illegal in the teleprompter. They didn't. They didn't have that in the teleprompter. Marjorie Taylor Greene yelled out, and Biden went off script. They didn't have that in the teleprompter. Tanya, concierge member. Thank you, Tanya. Bill, you said illegal immigrants will not be allowed to vote. That's true. However, they are counted in the census, and that means that states get a higher representation. That is absolutely true. So the more illegals you have, the more Congress people you have. Bill, can you comment on Ted Cruz's podcast verdict reporting the Biden administration flew more than 330,000 undocumented aliens into American cities? It is true. Okay. That program stemmed from 2022 throughout last year. The number is 320,000, but you were close. And the people came primarily from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela, and they were asylum seekers. They had to pay for the flights. U.S. government didn't pay for the flights, but the U.S. government allowed them to come here if they applied for that air program. Madeleine Dubé, Quebec, Canada. Hey, Bill, you say Joe Biden doesn't care about the border or Lake and Riley. So what does he care about? Power. And in order to keep his power, he has to do the bidding of the progressive left. That's where all of his money is coming from. He cares about power. Jan Kitzmiller, North Venice, Florida. I'm a lifelong Republican right now at a crossroads because I'm 100% supporting Ukraine. Trump doesn't seem to support Ukraine. We don't know. He has not defined it. I don't think Trump would cut off aid to Ukraine, but next time I talk to him, I'm absolutely going to ask him about it. It's fuzzy, and it shouldn't be. In a moment, something you might not know. Our freedom should never be taken for granted. They must be cherished, protected, and defended. When corporations pander to the liberal agenda, they must be punished. When corporations stand up for conservative values, they should be supported. This brings me to Freedom 2.0. The bottled water company that proudly represents us. They have hilarious sayings on each bottle like, "This water ain't woke," and "bottled with liberal tears." Use the code BILL for a 15% discount and subscribe to Freedom 2.0. We must never discount freedom, but we can discount water as long as you use the code BILL. Please visit freedom20.com to order now. That's freedom, the number 2, the letter O.com. Freedom20.com, use code BILL for 15% off. Now the O'Reilly Update brings you something you might not know. 90 years ago today, gang of outlaws robbed the First National Bank in Mason City, Iowa. The outfit was led by notorious killer John Dillinger and accomplice Babyface Nelson. Here is the story. At the age of 21, Dillinger was sentenced to 10 years in prison for petty theft. While incarcerated, he befriended a group of professional bank robbers who taught him the trade. In May 1933, in the middle of the Great Depression, Dillinger was paroled. He was arrested again, but escaped prison using a fake gun. The fugitive then teamed up with a violent misfit named Lester Joseph Gillis, a.k.a. Babyface Nelson. For the next few months, Dillinger and Nelson terrorized the Midwest, robbing banks all over the place. On March 13, 1934, the gang entered the First National Bank of Iowa. Using customers as human shields, it made off with $52,000. That's $1.2 million in today's currency. The well-dressed Dillinger became a national celebrity. Like Bonnie and Clyde, some Americans viewed him as Robin Hood. He was captured the following January in Arizona, but escaped a second time. On July 22, 1934, the FBI surrounded John Dillinger in Chicago. They observed him leaving a movie theater. At 10:40 p.m., the fugitive was ordered by the feds to surrender, but he allegedly took off running. 20 FBI agents opened fire, killing public enemy number one. John Dillinger was 31 years old. 4 months later, Babyface Nelson was gunned down in a shootout with the FBI. In total, Dillinger and Nelson murdered at least 20 innocent people. 1934 marked the end of America's notorious bank robbing spree, and the FBI was responsible. For more incredible stories about eradicating crime, please read my best-selling book, Killing the Mob. Back after this. If you own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles and have an auto warranty about to expire or have no warranty at all, listen up. Car Shield has a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that's now available to the public. Save on out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. So please call Car Shield now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. 800-925-7584 for a free quote. This protection plan is at an all-time low in price. Drivers who activate the vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. So please call for your free quote, 800-925-7584, 800-925-7584. Hey, what do you have to lose? 800-925-7584. Thank you for listening to the O'Reilly Update. I am Bill O'Reilly. No spin, just facts, and always looking out for you.